Hello and welcome back to the Gadget Man 369 channel. Yep, you remember last week? I hope you got all these all built and ready to go. All these fins, they came out pretty good. You know what's really weird about this? They're so light, even all together you can barely feel them in your hand. That's the idea. And for what they are, they're pretty strong. Keep it light. Okay. And we got this thing, the sustainer. Don't know if we can get all this in. This might be a little tricky to film. You might want to take your nozzle off. Set it aside in a good place. We don't want that in the way. Now, if you remember when we built this, the lines that we put on that first sheet on here, this bottom part, you have some vertical lines on here. Just like that. Should be 4 of them. Those are alignments for this fin. We're going to glue those, each one of these fins on top of that line in the back, right here, right there, even with the back of that. Okay, today's build should be fairly easy. You just gotta remain aware when each one of these things are the glue is setting on there. Set this back aside. Yeah, tight squeeze in here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Here's a neat gadget. What does this have to do with rockets? Well, the only thing this has to do with the rocket we're building is the color. Notice it's yellow. Just kidding. Yeah, this is an old NOAA weather radio from probably 25 or 30 years ago. This is the best little handheld weather radio I've ever seen. It's got a little compass. And you can get these used on eBay really cheap. You can push that button there, it'll tell you how hot it is in here. It's hot enough. 83, not real bad.
The temperature was 62 and the relative humidity 80%.
Yeah, you got this weather station. There's a bunch of them on here. You got to pick the one that's closest to you. And it'll give you the most accurate weather report that you can get anywhere. All these fancy apps and everything you see, all the weather from all of those are all coming from NOAA Weather. NOAA Weather has their own little website and stuff, and it's not the prettiest thing and all fancy and everything, but if you go there, you'll get the most accurate weather because everybody else is building their models after NOAA Weather. Anyway, enough of the weather. When we get around to flying this thing, the weather will be an important factor. We need to fly this rocket in nearly windless conditions. You don't want anything more than 2 or 3 miles an hour, so you gotta listen to a weather report perhaps a couple of days in advance and make sure there's not going to be a windstorm or something out there, because your rocket will blow away because this thing is so light. Unlike the heavier rockets that cut through the air, the lightweight one won't be able to do that, but we'll get a nice long flight even at low altitude because the parachute's going to bring it down nice and slow. And when it hits the ground, parachute or not, you should still have a flyable rocket left. Anyway, without further ado, let's get those fins assembled on there. Alrighty then, here we go. As you can see, these fins from last time. Pretty neat. Just like this. Oop, get that dirt off of there. Blow that dirt off. That one's crooked. Anyway, let's see if I can actually put this together. I can just remove all of these. Bring this in. Just like this. Okay, here's what you want to do. You might want to put a towel like this on that side. Let's see, can I find something else? Get another towel and put it over here on this side. This will help keep it from rolling off the table. Anyway, we have, this is where that's gonna go. Can I get that over here? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's see if I can do this a little differently. Moving that where you could see it in the camera. Yeah, I need something over here that will hold that end of it up. Can I do this? Maybe I could simply lay this guy over here somewhere. Okay, and that towel will be good enough to keep it from rolling away. Just like that. Okay, this is going to be tricky to film, so that's where this is going to go. Let's see, I'm going to move that where you can see the whole thing in there, so it looks pretty cool. Okay, all right, here we go. What you're going to do, gonna draw. Oh boy. Okay, a line of glue across the bottom of this. You don't need to be like overdo it. Just like that. Don't need a lot. Okay, now what I want to do, you have that center line going down the center of that. You want that to line up with that back here. Okay, let me make a mark here. It makes it a little easier to see. Okay, what you could do is, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm going to mark exactly. I'm going up and down. I'm going to rub some of that graphite on the very end of that, because when you put the fin on there, you won't be able to see the line. So you won't know if it's aligned or not. Yeah, I don't know if you could see that right there, that little black mark. Okay. All right. Now, let's get this on here. I'm going to first lay that down back here, just make an educated guess. And then look over here at the very front and lay that fin perfectly on top of that line like that. Okay, now what I have to do is, you're not going to see this, I have to look up underneath here to see if that little tick mark and all that is lined up. Most likely it's not going to be perfectly lined, but when you move the back of that fin, put your finger on this like that to keep it. You don't want that moving out of line. Okay, I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to look down behind back here and then move this back and forth. Okay. Yep, it was quite far off. I have no way to get that camera. Okay. I don't know how long this is going to take. Okay. From your perspective, it might look like it's crooked, but keep in mind that the fin gets thicker as it goes to the back. I'm going to look back here. Oh, it's right on the money. Let's see. Yeah, no, it wasn't. I don't know how it moved. It must have moved. Okay. When I moved it back over here. No matter. Okay. That this first gluing is just to get it started. Okay, the welding is what's going to really hold that fin on here. Now what you need to do is, when it's setting, is I'm going to move this and look this way and make sure that fin is vertical. And again, I can't show that on the camera. I only got one camera and all that stuff. So, and try and keep this where this fin is vertical. That way it won't be falling left or right. But I'm going to give that a look. Okay. And then yeah, it was off. It's normal that there is a bigger gap on one side of the fin where it meets the body, and then there's this. Okay, that looks pretty doggone close. Okay, we're gonna give this, I thought this would be a quick video, but the problem is I can't rotate that much. We're gonna have to have something to set this on where the fins are hanging off the end of a table or something. Oh boy. Okay. And I really can't, I don't know if I can demonstrate that or not. I'll see if I can, but what I'm gonna do is rotate this whole thing over and put the other fin on the other side. Oops, doggone it. Got the fan going, so it blew it over. Keep that vertical. Now I gotta look at that, make sure it didn't move. Okay, that's good. And like I said, if you were looking at the other side of this, over across here somewhere, there's a bigger gap than you can see over on this side, which is normal. The main thing is make sure that fin is vertical. You know, imaginary line drawing through the center of this, through the center of that, all the way through the center of that other tick mark on the other side. Okay, I don't know if I can get away with this because I'm not allowing enough time for that glue to dry. Boy, I don't know if I'm getting this in there or not. Let's see. I wish that thing would stay on. Draw another bead. If you put too much glue on this part of it, you'll have to wait a lot longer for the glue to set. Get a little bit of glue all the way to the end of that, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to turn this thing completely over. Okay, I'm going to make an educated guess where the center is, and then I'm going to look at the other side and try and lay that down right on top of that other line on the other side. As you notice, I can move that back and forth, so I'm going to look back here. Slide it back so it matches the bottom of that perfectly. Okay, now I am going to look straight down and make sure the fins are in line. Okay, that did move, baby. Okay, where's the center of that? If these things are crooked, your rocket will not even fly straight. Only thing I have to go by is that little mark I made on there. Okay. Don't push down too hard. Although it's not laying down perfectly flat, it's not going to do that. But the weld is what's going to hold. Now I got to look down the back side of this real quick. I don't want this thing to dry crooked. Make sure it's vertical, perfectly square. Now you can compare it with the first fin that we put on, and that looks pretty doggone close. Because the glue dries so slow, you have a little bit of time. Okay, now we have this, wish I could show it to you. If I turn this thing over to show it to you flat before the glue sets up, the fins will move out of position. Let's see. Yeah, well, yeah, I wish I could zoom in, zoom out of that camera. Okay, Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this whole thing down on something and keep the fins perfectly vertical while it sets. If I can find something to set this down on for a minute. Okay, let's grab this puppy and show you what we got here. Just like that. Okay, and I don't know if you could see that the fin, I guess not, are vertical. I had to have something sitting here to put this on. Didn't even think about it. What you can do is you could put it on something vertical, straight up and down. Can't see that either. Only got so much room in here. Let's see if that's set or not. Gotta wait long enough to where that glue is dry enough so I could turn it like this without the fins, you know, falling over or something. We could just give this another minute. We'll have to wait till the... have to watch the grass grow. Yes, I don't know. Shoot. Now we gotta wait for this glue to set up enough where I could rotate that and do it vertical. Okay, let's see. Get another one of these ready. Okay, da-ba-da. Let's see. Is that gonna hold? Okay. Let's see if I can get away with filming it like this. Okay. That's what you should be planning ahead about how or what you're going to be doing here, but I've never recorded anything this big. I didn't think about the lack of room. Okay. Just like that, like we did before. Okay. Now, I'm gonna start this off in the back. You notice I got my other finger under here, and that kind of gives it a little place for it to seat in there. Okay, now I'm gonna pay attention to the front. Okay, make sure that's vertical as you can get it. And spot on that line. Okay, so I'm gonna let that set for a few seconds. Then I'm gonna look down, right down on this end here, and make sure that fin is square and perfectly vertical. To the other side, it does look like the glue on the other two I glued on there, the glue is set enough to where I can get away with doing that. I'm gonna give this a quick eyeball. Okay, I can see it needs to be moved this way. When you move these fins around and make them vertical, you kind of push them past where it needs to go, like that, and then when it springs back, it'll come back in just the right spot, just like that. All right, I think the glue is setting a little bit on that, so I'm gonna look down this end and make sure, and yeah, those fins, the first two I put on there, they are, in fact, bending a little bit. Now, we got this one. A new kind of a camera angle here. Okay, if I just put a little bit less glue on here. This is just to hold it in place while we actually weld it. So like I said, we don't need an awful lot of glue on there. Okay, where's a paper towel when you need one? Okay, put the lid back on. Okay. And do the same thing here, like that, and like that. Yeah, I'm holding my breath again. Most of the time when you hear me not speaking, that's when I'm holding my breath so I can not be shaking or wiggling or doing some weird stuff. It's like when you're taking a picture with a camera. You hold their breath, that way the camera won't be shaking. I think I gotta hold that in place for, yeah, it wants to fall over. Okay, till that glue sets. Just be patient. Now when we get all these on here and the glue is all set all the way around, we're gonna look down this end here and we're gonna bend these fins, you know, in such a way where there is perfectly square to each other as you possibly can get them. I like the idea that we drew those guidelines on there. Boy, that makes doing this so much easier. I'm gonna get me a look here and I'm gonna square it just a little bit. I'm gonna set this back down here. Yeah, I saw that. But I'll hold that vertical as much as I can. I did get that tick mark in the very back lined up in the center of the back of that fin. That was the main deal with this. Yeah, see, if you just glue one of these fins on at a time or two at a time and just walk away from it for an hour, you won't have to be jacking around with it like this. I'm just eyeballing the verticalness. Before we do the welding, I'm going to look down the back of that again and make sure those fins are all vertical and square to each other. Boy. You hear a clock ticking? That's a real clock. I think I'll just go ahead and put a clock ticking in here. Let that sit for, I don't know, let's see if I could just sit around here for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to be looking down the back of that and tweak the fins so they're dead square. It's real important to have those tick marks that we just made, that you saw me put in there. And keep these fins dead center of those. And those right here are right on top of that line. Yeah, you could whistle or do any darn thing you want. Yeah, I thought this was it'll be a quick video, but the thing is, not for me filming it. I gotta sit here and keep the camera rolling and just sit here and wait for that glue to set. I want this to come out really good. Having the fins perfectly straight on there is what will determine whether your rocket flies really nice and straight or it'll fly. If you have them on there crooked, you could always tell somebody's rocket when they fly it. It's like going all like crooked and darting left and right when it's going up, or it just loops over or does some weird stuff. That's because they didn't put the fins on perfectly straight. Oh boy, now it looks like we've got something here. Oh, okay, boy. And then what you want to do is like rotate this maybe all the way around like that. Okay, in case these fins here bent down a little bit, you rotate it this way and they'll straighten back out by themselves. Yep, we're getting there. When this puppy's done, we're gonna be able to go to the moon, get a moon maiden. I don't know if it is possible to fly a paper rocket to the moon. I suppose anything's possible. If it's thought of, it could be done. Yep, I got that fan back there blowing. That's why it's wiggling around a little bit. But you got to keep the temperature down. Okay. It's not too hot in here. Got like 87 degrees. As long as it's not 90, I'm okay. And it starts getting to be 90 degrees and it starts getting uncomfortable. Okay. Let's see how this fin feels. Okay. you can tell if the glue is really set good, is it's kind of tight. It's still going to wiggle back and forth because there's only one line of glue right down the middle of that fin joint there. But after the weld dries, then they're there wherever they're going to be permanently. I'm going to give another look-see down here. I'm just rotating it. Boy, I wish you guys could see what I'm doing here. Put this back down here. Yeah, you could really see the gap there. Like I said, you don't worry about that. Yeah, if you could see that gap. Can't be helped. Don't want to force anything down. But like I said, when we weld that up, that gap will be completely filled up. It'll be perfectly strong. Ah, I think we could start welding something here pretty soon. I think I'm going to start with this right here. Let's see what I can do filming this. Yeah, we say filming, but there's no film in any of these cameras anymore. Make it look neat as you possibly can. Come on, gotta get warmed up to this. And put a good amount of glue on there, I suppose. Okay. Yeah, when this dries, the fins will be really solid on there. Fold it. I should have some welding sound effects. Do you realize this is the first build of any of the videos where we didn't need the X-Acto knife? The only thing we need is the glue, and that's it. Yeah, the wider those gaps, the bigger the weld thing on there that you gotta make. Okay. Alrighty. Which one's next? Let's see, I'm gonna rotate that all the way around. I'm gonna do the opposite fin. I just wanna keep this, because we got these vertical ones here. These are the last ones that were glued on. And they're the ones that are most likely to move. Yeah, when you glue yours, you could, like, you know, glue 2 of those fins on. Set this, well, I wouldn't set it vertically because then the glue will have a tendency of wanting to pool up on the bottom. But you just set it where the fins are vertical until it's dry, and make every 5 minutes go and check and make sure the fin is still vertical and straight up with the other fin and in perfect line, nice and straight. That is everything. That's probably the most important thing on a rocket build. Yes. I wonder if I can get away with now welding one of those the vertical fins. This is unique. If I wasn't having to film this and sitting in a very odd position, this would be easy. Can I get away with doing that? I'm gonna try it and let's see what happens. And you've watched how long it's been. That glue that's holding that fin on there. Now that's a big gap, so this will give you an opportunity to see how much glue I'm putting in there. I'm making very big weld. Most likely, when that glue dries, there's gonna be some gaps and holes and things, and we'll go back over it and weld it over the top of it again. Usually it don't take no more than 2 times. Wow, that's a big gap. But you can't press it down or anything. Yep, that fin there, that's what happens when you assemble the fin you know, and lay it out. It's not laid out absolutely perfect. Then it glues together with one side different than the other. Okay, that's not too bad. I filled up that gap. A little funky. Now I'm going to rotate it around, and I'm going to do the other side of the other fin like that. And this one doesn't have hardly any gap in it. So far I'm getting away with that. Now what I have to do is make sure that those fins are staying straight, because I'm not allowing the glue to dry all the way because I'm filming it. What do you call this? Videoing it? Digitaling it. That's the only thing we're doing is digitaling. Try and make that look nice as possible, because that's going to show. Okay. If I remember. Yeah. Now see the weld we did? Right there on the joint down here on the back of each one of those. That'll be done last. We're going to dab on a weld across there, and then the other two spots there. And then lastly, we're going to put one dab here on the very tip of that. Now the fins like these on both sides, they're going to want to like bend down. Boy, look at the glue coming out of that one. But you don't need to fret too much, because 90% of that will all just disappear. Okay. I'll let it sit there for a couple of minutes. Yeah, well, I don't know what to talk about. Yeah, antique glasses case, cat food holder, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Ay, ay, ay. I'm just sitting here waiting for my feet to fall asleep. I probably won't show the re-glue, you know, the re-welding over the top of that, you know. When it completely dries, you'll go, oh, there's a little gap here, a little gap there, whatnot. But, now, can I be tricky and get this one? I hate it when I'm leaving a little hole there. And again, we're fighting the batteries and the video. Now see this thing, I am tilting this at about a 45-degree angle. Right in that gap there. That way the glue will go in there evenly. It's like evenly divided on the top and bottom surfaces. If you understood what I just said. There's a bigger gap here, so we need more glue. When you do yours, you just, if you're welding these big gaps, set each weld down for, you know, 10 or 15 minutes and let that glue set in there. Otherwise it'll want to run out like you saw when I rotated that. Okay, now I'm going to rotate this completely around that way and get this one. Yeah, I'm kind of getting the hang of this. Okay, now I'm going to weld that one. Okay, come on. It's funny, as time goes on here, I'm getting better at welding and they make it look better. Look at that one, man, that's the best one yet. I kind of copying this welding style. I remember working in an aircraft plant, man, years ago. And there was these aluminum welders and the hand welders. They were doing this with, I can't remember what the heck that was called. Helia arcs? Or Heli weld or something, I don't know, it has helium. That it comes out of their welder, and then the little rod that self-feeds. Look at that. Yeah. Okay. I think that the original glue, I'm just guessing, is set enough. Yeah, that guy used to do this in it's kind of like the same way, and he was like really trying hard to make the most perfect welds. He was one of the best hand welders in the whole place. And I'm just using the technique that he told me about, only I'm using glue and not aluminum. So that's kind of the way it comes out, looking similar. It's like each dab looks perfectly like the one before, and they're spaced perfectly the same apart. Oh, we got a big gap here, so now we got to make a bigger weld. And I suppose I'm going to be rotating this thing until the glue completely sets up where it won't be globbing out of there. Like that, like that. Okay. I'm going to rotate this like that. You could see that ugly one on the bottom right there. Like that right there. It's like, kind of disappointed with that if you look and compare it with the one above it. But that had a big gap in it, so the glue kind of just ran out of there. That's why every minute or so, after you get this all welded, rotate it. Every minute or something. Okay. Oh boy. Whew. Gotta hold your breath. See how perfect I can make it. Concentrate. Heck, you gotta be an artist to build a paper rocket. Once you build these rockets successfully, I think you could build anything you want out of this paper. I don't care what it is. Hell, if you wreck the fender of your car, you might be able to make a paper fender. Wouldn't be very strong, but you could make one. Save $10,000 or whatever they charge. Nobody knows how to straighten a fender out anymore. So they force you to buy a new one. Or a whole new car. I see one little hole right there. Poop, just like that. Okay. Looks like I got all of it welded all the way around. Now I'm gonna just kind of like rotate this. In the meantime, I'm gonna put that final little bit of glue right there on the tip. Just like that. Okay, just like that. Okay, that one's got all of those. I don't know if I'll be able to show you. I'm going to be welding across the backs of each one of those fins. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to pick this up and do that weld, and at the same time I'm going to look down this way and make sure those fins are staying square. That is so important. That's probably one of the most important things. Okay. Set this back down here. These two fins, they bent up because it was turned the other way. So now I'm gonna set it to where they want to bend down that way. Put the glue thing back on there. Yeah. Looking mighty good. Okay, rotate that 180 degrees. Look down there. Okay, I need to go back the other way, because those two fins need to bend the other way. And let gravity do some of the work. Yeah. I think the camera view looks quite nice right now. Boy, okay. You can see there's a gap right there. The glue is kind of like went down there, but don't add any glue at this point. Just add it when the whole doggone thing is dry. I'm gonna lift this up and look and see those fins and adjust them. Bending them, of course. I could have sanded that right there. Could go back there when the whole thing is dry. When this whole thing is dry, I'm going to look down those welds. Obviously there's one here. There's going to be another gap back there, and it should be able to fill it completely after that point. Could go like that. Yep, the glue is setting. And I'll probably end this video before that glue, oh no doubt, before that glue completely dries. But what I'll be doing for the next couple hours, keeping an eye on that, is rotating it and tweaking the fins to keep them perfectly square. I want this rocket to fly perfectly straight. And if we can get out in the desert and fly this thing and have this on the YouTube video, you'll be witnessing its first flight to see how it does. You know, everybody's going to see it fly for the first time. I'm hoping to get all these rockets done before the weather heats back up. I was planning on this month being the month to go out and fly these things. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but we got to get out there where it's not too hot and there's no wind blowing. And if it rains out there, you got to wait 2 or 3 weeks between or after it rains for all the rainwater out there to dry out. Otherwise, you'll be in a big muddy mess. A big muddy mess. You'll be in a sea of mud like at Woodstock or something. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it like that. You could see another gap appearing right back there. But that's perfectly normal. I mean, every time I built one of these things, the same thing happens. The bigger the gap, the more times it takes to actually fill it. And then when it's primered, you won't even know anything happened. Boy. I could tell that glue along there is setting up. Now, in this case, when you're doing the welds, do not set this thing with it sitting straight up in the air, because all the gravity will pull all that glue and make great big ugly knotty balls down there at the end there and ruin your rocket. So do it like this. I used a drawer. That works perfectly. So if you happen to, you know, own a drawer or something like that where you could set the rocket down like this, and the drawer holds this thing where it won't roll off or nothing. Just keep rotating it. Okay. When that dries, I'm going to fill all this up, and next week I'll show it to you after it's dried. But yeah. All right, there we go. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me grab this real quick. It's still drying. Let's see if I can get all this in there. Gotta lean back. Need a wider angle. Okay, that's what I got so far on here. I don't know if you could see. Oh brother. I can't even show you the back end of that. All right. Got to keep an eye on that. Might as well put this guy back on. See? Like that. Rotate it. Boy, now it looks like we got something here, huh? That's a big one. Barely fits in here. And this cone, it keeps kind of wanting to go a little bit out of shape, but that's okay. Just before the primer, I'm going to like play around with that and make it look as good as possible. And after I primer it, after the primer dries, then I'll play around with it a little bit more, and then it should stick after the final primer. Yeah, the big one. It's looking pretty cool. Yeah. That's that end of it. I'm just kind of goofing around here because I have no idea what it looks like in the camera. See that end of it? Alright, let's set this back down and get this camera shut down so I could just sit here and play with that while I have my lunch. Kitty's drinking her water. Yeah, good old kitty. Anyway, Yeah, okay, that was a quick video for today, fairly quick. I'll be editing some of the blank spots out of that anyway. Anyway, you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. If you want to continue this build, don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Watch the mailman go by. Yeah, this is the Gadget Man 369 signing off. I'll just look at the back of that rocket. Yeah, that looks pretty cool.